We're following some breaking news here on CBS Sports HQ. Defensive end Myles Garrett of the Cleveland Browns has been placed on the reserve COVID-19 list, and he will not play Sunday against the Eagles. Former top overall pick leads the league in sacks with 9.5, tied for first with 4 forced fumbles. This while the team already putting a handful of players on Wednesday on the reserve COVID-19 list, including Cody Parkey, among others. So right now, Cleveland at 6-3. Tied with Baltimore in the AFC North standings. Both teams looking up at Pittsburgh, which is right now 9-0 to start the year. Cleveland at 6-3 will be without its top defensive player Sunday against the Eagles. All right, with more on the breaking news, we have Ryan Wilson to break this down. Ryan, what do you think about the news today that Myles Garrett has been placed on that reserve COVID-19 list?
Tommy, it gets your attention because, as you point out, the Browns are sitting at 6-3. They're tied with the Ravens in the AFC North, looking up at the Steelers, and they're in prime position. Typically, we see the Browns, when they get off to good starts to start the year, a month in, the wheels fall off. That hasn't happened. They've regrouped. Baker Mayfield played a little better offensively. But on the other side, Myles Garrett in that defense, and he is basically the centerpiece of that defense. You mentioned how good he is as a pass rusher. Without him, things get interesting because then that's more pressure on Kevin Stefanski, the first-year head coach, and Baker Mayfield. They got Kareem Hunt back. Or excuse me, they have Kareem Hunt. They got Nick Chubb back, who helped last week in the running game. So now more pressure on those guys to hold up their end of the bargain. As you mentioned, they play the Eagles this week. That's a game they should win, but we'll see what happens. After that, they're at Jacksonville. Again, a game they should win. And then hopefully after that, Myles Garrett is back. They face Tennessee. And then, of course, they have to face the Ravens again shortly thereafter. So there's a lot of moving parts here. Fingers crossed, you think they have the pieces in place to perhaps overcome a not very good Eagles team. But after that, they do need Myles Garrett back because he is the centerpiece, not only that defense, but he is one of the best, or arguably the best pass rusher in the NFL, Tommy.
All right, so he has not been at practice this week. He stayed home, classified with an illness, and they put teammates on the reserve COVID-19 list on Wednesday. So today was a day where he was supposed to be cleared if he was able to pass all of his tests. So again, they marked that with him today. I do have a statement here, Ryan. I'm going to read it real quickly from the Browns. This morning, the Cleveland Browns were informed that a player has tested positive for COVID-19. Contact tracing has been conducted, and the individual has self-isolated. Has not been in the facility all week, and 0 high-risk contacts have been identified. It goes on, but basically they haven't named the exact player yet. So again, we don't know if Myles Garrett exactly is that player, but we know that he hasn't been with his teammates all week long. From a COVID-19 perspective, with this situation and really as a whole, Ryan, how have you seen it, the way the NFL has handled it up to this point?
It's been tricky, Tommy, and the protocols in place for the NFL are more stringent and in some ways in terms of the amount of testing, but also less stringent in terms of what we've seen compared to college. College with the contact tracing, those players are out in college. So even though you don't have COVID-19, if you've been in close contact with someone, you are not eligible to play that week. We haven't seen that in the NFL because they do more testing. We saw it last week with the Steelers and Ben Roethlisberger in particular. By Saturday, he was eligible to play, even though Vance McDonald, the tight end, earlier in the week had come down with COVID, and Ben Roethlisberger was considered a close contact. So I think, by and large, the NFL has done a really good job. And also something else to consider is that this affects people differently. Andy Dalton, who had that serious concussion a few weeks ago and then got COVID, said it really knocked him out. He's back now. He'll probably play this weekend. But for other players, they've been asymptomatic. So it's just a matter of how it affects you personally. And also, I think the NFL, by and large, has done a really good job. We haven't seen any games canceled. We haven't seen anyone come down with a serious illness as a result of the COVID-19 diagnosis. So in that sense, fingers crossed, things seem to be working as best as they possibly can, Tommy.
Want a sports network that delivers everything that matters about the game? The highlights, the picks, the instant analysis. No yelling, no fake debates, no politics. Hit the subscribe button and never miss a moment.